Kind of like a modern day Indiana Jones.
I'd like to think so. I mean, he's cool Indiana Jones, isn't he? Of all the TV characters, he's the guy. Yes, you're right here. He's used to interrogating people. Of course, all my exes all went bananas and started sending me threatening, horrible messages. What about me, Mahoney? Did you not love me?
Mahoney,
Yo, who's that?
where are you hiding here?
Here, mate.
Oh,
What's going on?
what's happening? You're always disorganized.
I know it looks like a 747's crashed here.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Filming again?
Yeah.
You're always filming.
Wanted to catch you off guard here.
Well, you kind of did.
Cars
Trying to figure out we got no power. It's one of the circuits in there, so I'm just testing it with. This is all new cabling in this. What are you doing? What's going on?
We want to stop by for a little chat, see what you're up to. It's a nice car you have here.
Yeah, it's a 1967 Mustang Fastback. We've done a full body restoration on this, and we're nearly there now. Yesterday they were putting in the roof lining and the upholstery, so it's about a week out, I reckon.
Wow.
Yeah, have you not seen this before?
I think I've seen it briefly.
It's a Bullitt copy in the 1968 film Bullitt with Steve McQueen. This is one of the chase cars, so we've done an exact copy of it.
Looked like you did a little break from the work
do,
here.
I'm sweating. I'm going to get some water then. We have a few questions you need answering. Police you guys, huh?
Oh, a little investigation going on here now.
Now. All right, beer guard. What do I owe this uninvited little guest visit then from you two weirdos? What's going on?
Yeah, we kind of just snuck up on you there.
Yeah, I know, it's my own fault. I should never have told you about that. The secret entrance. You'd never get through that one because too much security. So what's going on? Tell us what's on your mind, guys.
We wanted to have a little bit of an interrogation of you here.
An interrogation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, whose idea was that? His.
Oh,
Probably.
That's the Belfast idea.
Yes, you're right here. He's used to interrogating people. Go on then. So what about though?
I figured you've been in a couple interrogations once or twice
Oh, a
before.
lot. Yeah, usually with a man wearing a uniform though.
Maybe two.
Yeah,
Nice and a good and a bad one.
good cop, bad cop. No, they're actually usually pretty bad, both of them. You know, I haven't been that privileged to have a good cop, bad cop. Both of mine have been assholes. So no, seriously, what are you thinking?
Now we wanted to get to know you a little bit better for the viewers at home. Get that little sneak peek behind the scenes. So that's also why we snuck up the secret door entrance there.
See what I was doing?
Yeah.
Ah, so you can
Catch
try.
you in a little bit of a
Compromising position. Well, I've done a couple of these before. I had an interview with Shan. She was asking me a lot of personal questions, which I'm fine about. It's actually quite a good challenge because there's no rehearsal. But her questions are kind of female based, like, have you ever been in love? When I said not really, just once, of course, all my exes all went bananas and started sending me threatening, horrible messages. What about me, Mahoney? Did you not love me?
So yeah, a lot of the people, they know you now from Mahoney Supplements and what you've been doing the past couple of years. But I've heard some rumors that you've been in the film industry.
Yeah.
And you were known as the Fixer. So tell us a little bit about that.
You have been doing some gossiping, haven't you? The Fix It, yeah. Shit, man. Well, before COVID, I've been in Spain for 30 odd years and I've done a lot of films down here. Some of it behind the scenes with classic cars. I mean, we'll show the folks at home what we've got down here. And then I just became very well known in the industry for problem solving. So when you come down to Spain, if you want to shut off a street and you need the police there, okay, who are you going to call? Mahoney. If you want a specific car for as a time period, if you're doing something from the 80s, we did a lot of British gangster movies in the 80s. We needed a lot of 80s cars. So I did all that. So I became quite famous in that. And then when COVID hit, all of the people that were following me from my film career, we all got locked down. We couldn't do anything. So I thought, I'm going to reinvent myself here. I'm bored. But I was shocked about how many people just swallowed the entire COVID bullshit, hook, line, and sinker. So 50% of the people I work with, they'll never work with me again because of my outspoken views on COVID, government restrictions, the medical lies, everything. So I had to do something else. But fortunately, I was living in a part of the world where there's a very interesting place here, southern Spain, Andalusia specifically. There's a ton of ancient stuff, ancient Roman sites. There's some Phoenicians. There's some Greek. I mean, Plato wrote about where Atlantis is, just off the coast of Gibraltar, which, what's his name? James Cameron, the director of Titanic, put together a National Geographic special. They more or less came up with very compelling evidence that Atlantis was exactly where Plato wrote about it, just off the Straits of Gibraltar. The Pillars of Hercules. That's a long story, but they found a lot of evidence. If you don't believe me, you can go and Google search or search for the National Geographic Atlantis, James Cameron. It's a really good show to watch.
Yeah.
So I started doing a ton of, going around Andalusia, putting stories together. And then it led to a lot of weird things. I ended up in Egypt with a story that we were filming from Southern Ireland about an Egyptian princess. It goes back to 1350, more or less, BC. So how did an Egyptian princess end up being buried in Ireland? And the Irish government gave an official marked grave. And she was the daughter of Nefertiti and Akhenaten. And she united all the tribes in Ireland and Scotland. So I reinvented myself, stuck in the house during COVID. I started using my behind the camera and in front of the camera skills to entertain myself and many other people. Oh, and then I did a lot of traveling. I ended up in Bolivia. I was in Mexico, Bolivia, Panama. I was trying to sneak over the border into Peru, but I couldn't bribe the fishermen to take me across Lake Titicaca. I wanted to get into Peru, but that didn't happen. So I did a lot of traveling during COVID, and then coming back to the health restrictions, coming back into the airport, and they'd say, "Where's your QR code for your health code?" I say, "I don't have to tell you anything. I'm not doing it." And I filmed all of my battle in supermarkets, trains, buses, driving around, the police stopping me, airport arrivals, airport departures. I filmed it all. And I never once complied with any of the restrictions. And not one time did they ever get a successful conviction against me. It was just, they tried to, and I just reaffirmed my human rights, my medical rights, and they just were all like looking at each other, because the police don't know what the rules are. They're only taught a little bit. They're not legal experts. You know what? You can ask this to a cop. You can say, "Okay, you're a policeman. Are you a lawyer?" "No, I'm a policeman." Well, then you cannot talk about lawful and unlawful events, because what you're doing is you're following corporate policy, policing policy officer. So, because they're not lawyers. This is the thing that people misunderstand. They have a basic knowledge of the law, the police, but they're not legal experts. They're not qualified to talk about it, really, because they're not legal experts. So anyway, that's what happened. I got twisted and bitter sitting at home because of the restrictions, and then I reinvented myself, and then I became very well followed. We started going online, teaching people how to stand up, what the medical ethics were, how to cure it with ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And then I got voted number 7 in the world for online truth talking, which I was very proud of. Thought that was cool,
Yeah.
Thing about being number 1, you're always worried about not being number 1. But if you're number 7, I don't care if I'm number 8 or number 6, really. It's a good number.
7 is a lucky number as well.
007. 007.
You're kind of like a modern day 007.
Modern day. Yeah, a lot of people say that. They say I'm like that guy of, what's his name? Catch Me If You Can. Leonardo DiCaprio played a really good character. He just kept reinventing himself. One minute he's a doctor, then he's an airline pilot. And he kept excelling at what he does in totally different career path. I am a bit like that because, catch me if you can. I'm clever. I use the law that they created against them. And it's a clever skill to have once you know how to use it. You can deploy their own weapons against them. It's like a martial art. And a lot of martial arts, if you're being attacked, their speed and force and momentum, if someone's running at you, if you just push them on their head will turn and they'll lose their center of balance and go down. Yeah. I found it was the same for COVID. You could put them off the center of balance and use their own rules back against them, trick them. So
because there wasn't really rules, were just guidelines.
Yeah, because the word, it's obligatory. That just means to oblige you. I'm sorry, I'm not going to oblige you. It's compulsory. Again, it's not, or it's, a statute has been passed or a new rule. Yeah, but it's not law. It's unlaw. You haven't passed the law, is it? It's a recommendation. And I'm sorry, I don't listen to your recommendations. I'm not going to oblige you with what you want me to oblige you with. So that's the end of that conversation, pal.
So you've had an interesting life. Tell us, what's the most fucked up, difficult situation you've ever been in?
Oh, shit. I mean, I've had some, I remember I had a banking issue once when I was in Honduras, and literally, because I'm living in a poverty-stricken country, uh, I literally had about $10 for about a month because they froze my bank accounts from something. So I lived on mangoes and basically tuna that I was catching out of the Caribbean. So I lived on sushi basically. I had rice, a mango, and tuna. And I think for about 2 weeks that's all I had until I cleared up my situation. I could have made one of these calls and say, hey, can you send us a couple of grand? But I'm too proud. And you know what? I have another bit of a confession. I have a bit of a sickness. And one of the things is I really push it. For example, when you're driving and the light goes on and you need to refuel, you're thinking, oh, a lot of people go, oh my God, I got to stop now. But I have this little devil inside me goes, oh no, let's see how far we can go.
Pedal to the metal.
Yeah, come on. I reckon I can get at least another 30 miles out of this, just pushing it. I had a Range Rover on the beach once, and the guy said to me, it's the water's too deep. I said, no, I've crossed here before. He said, yeah, but we've just had a storm. It's washed all this fresh shale in, and the ground isn't hard anymore. I said, no, I can go through it. And I was with my son. He was about 7, and I drove the Range Rover in, and it literally just sank. It was that deep. They had water coming in through the windows, and my son had to climb out through the sunroof. He'll tell you. So yeah, I'm guilty of pushing it. So fucked up situations. I've been shot, stabbed, kicked, punched, thrown out of windows, rolled cars, crashed airplanes. I'm trying to think of.
How did you end up shot?
I got shot in a movie theater in Philadelphia. I didn't even know I was shot. I was shot with a 22, but I had a big winter coat on, and it went in through my coat. There's a disco going on upstairs. Yeah, I was in a movie theater in the wintertime. There was a scuffle between a couple of black guys, and I didn't even hear the shot. And I got involved with the scuffle because there was one guy bullying these other people, and I said, "Leave him alone, man. Mind your own business. Do one." There was a few words exchanged, and what they do is they speak a different language. They say, "You cool?" So, yeah, I'm cool. What does I've got a jacket on, so obviously I'm cool, but I'm all right. You don't understand. They speak a strange English. Anyway, scuffle broke out, and I saw this guy drop something in a mailbox, and I told the cops, I said, "You put something in that mailbox over there. Throw something like because they've got weird ones in America on the street. It's kind of a big top opens, and you got to go like that, and then you close it again." So the cops went over and got it open, and it was a gun. So when I got home, I pulled my coat off. It's one of them puffer jackets, quite big. As I pulled it off, I think it was my right shoulder, it pulled on my skin. I went, that's weird. It felt like I'd been pricked. And then my girlfriend at the time, she says, man, you've been shot. So it only just punctured the wound, the skin. It wasn't, I didn't have to go to hospital. He's left a scar.
Like tweezers just taking it out?
No, it wasn't even that. It just literally just broke the skin. But the blood had congealed, so it was like forming a scab, and the bullet was on the scab. So when I took my jacket off, everything in my shirt, pulled it all out and started to bleed again. And we found it a little slug, so yeah.
Did you keep it?
Nah, that was in 1989, you don't think of things like that back then.
So you travel all over the place. You visit old, ancient sites.
Yeah.
Kind of like a modern day Indiana Jones.
I'd like to think so. He's cool, Indiana Jones. Isn't he? all the TV characters, he's the guy because... I've been to a lot of those places. You know what? Actually, I think that was it. I definitely can say he was a big influence on me growing up as a child. Temple of Doom and Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was super cool what he was doing. And I remember thinking, I always wanted to go to those places. And I have actually. I've been all over Central and South America. I've done all the pyramids there. I've been in Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, where else? Salvador, Peru down there, Colombia, Venezuela. I've been all up through. Well, you see, the Inca. It's interesting because you've got the Aztec, the Inca, and the Maya. And people, when you say it, they say, oh, it's true. Because everybody just says Inca. Or the Maya were up in Colombia, really. But what happened, they all started off as one race in Lake Titicaca. They've got two little islands, the Isla del Sol, the Sun Island, and the Moon Island. And they started there. And as they spread through Central and up into Mexico, the different nationalities and Indian groups all formed, but they went from the Inca to the Aztec to the Maya. and they're all directly descendants, but all three cultures are quite different but quite similar. You'll see, and they're building the same sort of architecture there as they were in ancient Egypt, but just like the bases, the pyramids look different, but if you take the bases of them, they're the same. That angle that they go up.
Also, aren't they aligned with north in the same way as well?
On the Giza Plateau, those three pyramids, there's actually 6 pyramids on the Giza Plateau. Most people only go to one and they can see the other 2 big ones, but the 3 small ones in front, they're aligned exactly with Orion's belt. I mean, exactly. And the architecture of how they did it, I mean, people are still scratching their heads and coming up with theories, but archaeology, to me, has all been obscured and we've been lied to. Like Stonehenge, for example. People always say, oh, ancient Stonehenge. It's a massive tourist attraction. If you go there, there's a car park. You can't go near the stones, and it's buy a ticket, and then there's posters and everything else. But people don't know, in the 1950s, Stonehenge was reconstructed. There's photographs out there, big machines and tractors, and even going back to the 1920s, 1880s, they were always moving the stones, saying, well, I reckon this one was upright. And I tell you what, why don't we put that one on top? It's not authentic. It's been manipulated and changed and turned into a tourist attraction. And honestly, I mean, I'm probably getting in trouble for this. Whenever I speak to anybody that has that energy sense about them, that they've tuned into the energy, it's like, I didn't get anything from Stonehenge. And a lot of people, you get these people on the 21st of June, the solstice, going, oh, I can feel the energy is flowing around us. It's amazing. And it actually is a complete load of bollocks. I don't believe them, because if you go to the real King Arthur energy, Dragon Lines of England, they're in Avesbury, they're in Wiltshire and Oxfordshire, down that way, and that's where all of the crop circles happen as well. So archaeology's been distorted and manipulated and used as either some form of control. So yeah, going out there and investigating things yourself. I mean, I found some nuts when I was living in this island called Roatan. I found out this ancient fort called Fort William. It was an English fort, and it was a pirate base. And the Spanish came in, and they said, listen, you lot, if you don't clear out, we're going to shell the entire area. So you better clear out. We're going to give you 2 days to get out of here. So they did. The English left, the Spanish took it over, and then they didn't settle there. And I found it by hiking up. I had to go there by boat. I walked up. It's what they call a wash. When you get all the rains coming down, it washes this like a riverbed out, and like a small canyon of rocks. I followed it up there. I thought, it's got to be around here somewhere. I knew I could see it on the old maps. And I did this on the floor with my boots. And I rubbed it, and I saw something red underneath it, and I cleared it off. When I cleared a bit more, it said London Brick. I was standing on James Fort. I'd found it. And then as I started looking more, like off Pirates of the Caribbean, they had those rum bottles. They're like a dark brown, very distinctive shape with a neck.
With the little handle on it. Yeah.
Johnny Depp was always saying, let's have some more rum,
It's the oldest rum you ever drank.
Jack Sparrow. But I was finding broken bottles, and another telltale sign of that is when you're finding German soda water, because people didn't understand why they were getting sick. They didn't trust water because there's bacteria and they didn't know about boiling it. So what they used to do was they used to brew their own beer and rum and soda water, anything that was made. Like the monks all made a living off making beer, and people drank it as we would water because they didn't know about why the water was giving them really upset stomachs. So yeah, I found all of these artifacts. I mean, I've got pieces of pottery in my house from 4,500 BC, which I found on the Sudan-Egyptian border, and you can still see the pottery lines on the edges of it, just scattered in the desert there when I was in there. I've got a house full of stuff like that. Actually, at the moment, I should show when it's finished. I've got these ancient stones from amazing places like Chichen Itza, and I've got Valley of the Kings, and I've got Abu Simbel. I've taken stones from all over the world, and I know exactly which ones they are because I always pick up the right one. And I'm making a glass table, and I'm going to put little brass plaques in to show everybody. So my friend is making it for me now because I've had him in that box for years, but now I'm going to display them for my own entertainment. I'll show you.
Perfect. Looking forward to see it.
Yeah, should be ready soon. My friend Lee's doing it. In fact, I'm going to call him and say, where are they? Put the pressure on him. Right, I'm going to go back to work, boys. Perfect. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about right now, no?
I will stop disturbing you.
Yeah, go on. Sling your hook.
Yeah.
It's nearly finishing time, so I've got a show tonight. It's Tuesday. and I got a show tonight with Dr. Corey Stern. So I'm going to go home, take a shower, and get prepped for that. So until next time,
Perfect.
lose my number and don't call me anymore.